Steve Bowers welcoming you to Front Row here at EPlusTV 6, our look at public education in the Jackson-Madison County school system. We are joined first by Ginger Carver. We'll also be talking about the Madison Academic Decathlon team. We will talk to Dr. Tiffany Green and also to Annette Wilson, so we'll cover several topics. It's kind of a busy time of year on one side administratively with the county commission and the budget process as we head toward the beginning of a new fiscal year, July 1, and so that work is underway and is busy time. All right, so the board is working on that. You can follow those meetings, both County Commission and Board of Education, here at EPlusTV 6 to keep up with what's happening there. But there will be some key meetings over the next couple of months, really, as we wrap up this fiscal year coming up June 30. Meanwhile, we're getting ready to graduate.
We are.
We're doing that as we do the show this week. But so we have graduations on different days.
We do.
So on Thursday, the 12th.
It's Madison Academic.
Okay, and then the 13th, Friday, Northside High School, and then Saturday, the 14th, loaded up with three.
We do. We have Liberty, JCM, and Southside.
At the same location?
All at the Civic Center at different times.
Okay. So if you got the parking and food concession in that area, that'll be a good day. The decision to utilize the Civic Center comes about how?
I'm sure it was in order for us to just pay for the space for one time instead of three different or four different or five different rentals.
Okay, so everybody will be moving through. It will be the final graduating class of Jackson Central. Mary, we'll have more to say about that before we get away. It's an interesting school and interesting history that began one way, it ends another, and so we'll talk about that. Their band was at the Strawberry Festival.
It was. I actually got to go and see that, and they did a great job. We had some alumni there from way back.
Traveled a long way to be here for that.
They did. So it was an awesome sight to see.
Okay, and successful, beautiful weather this year for the Strawberry Festival. All right, we're wrapping up school then, the 18th?
The 18th for students, and then the teachers will be there through the 20th. So there's a lot of activity going on right now. We're in finals weeks, especially for the high school students. We're doing a lot of awards days and those type things at the lower schools.
And then we catch our breath for about 3 seconds, and then we start moving.
Yes,
right.
if that long.
Okay.
But the process is already in place. We're just waiting, for the students and the teachers to be out of the schools and for those things to start moving and going to the locations that they need to be.
Okay. So who handles that process?
Dr. Brian Chandler is in charge of coordinating all of that. He's the project manager for the move, so he's been quite busy, along with he and his staff, and they have plans in place. I know a lot of work has already gone into a lot of purging of materials that maybe have needed to be removed for a while that haven't been used for a long time.
Okay.
That has already been done. Inventory has already been done at all the schools, so now we will wait to see where the materials need to go for each school and each teacher. One
thing that has been emphasized, and the superintendent has emphasized it, is that until because we have open enrollment throughout this system, not exactly sure what students are going to land where when we get into August. So there is going to be some fluidity in that process here, and which will complicate not only the movement of people and resources, but also budget considerations and balancing, and so we'll just wind up and see. In the midst of this, and we'll talk to Dr. Green about this a little bit later, we have very important emphasis on the fact that pre-K registration comes to an end May 20th. It does. We're going to get details of that, but it's something to keep in mind now, right, for parents that have a child that will be, or grandparents have a child, or guardians will have a child that will be 4 years old on or before August 15th, but that process, a registration process, comes to an end. It does. The 20th of May. And so it's something important. That's one of the reasons we'll be talking to Dr. Green about that, to take care of that. All right, so all these moving parts then, as we try to wrap up this year, so this gets somewhat, because sometimes, because usually with schools, or many times, if I know I'm coming back next year, I just leave all my stuff, right? Correct. Okay. So the teachers have been prepared. They've gotten their the ones that know they will be moving to another school. Do they all know where they're going next year?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody has been assigned there. Okay, all right. So at least I know where I'm going to land.
Yes. Yes, and they've already been able to meet some of their future staff members. They've gone to some of the schools. They've had open houses for the teachers to be able to meet the faculty and kind of make that transition now instead of waiting till the school year starts.
Okay. I'm also turning it over to Dr. Chandler and all the movers.
Okay. So
Not that I'll hold my breath and wonder if my stuff is going to be there. Right?
it will be. They have a plan. I mean, it is.
Well, I wish him the best,
the
because that's a daunting job. It's tough enough to pack it, and then you realize when you get there you left something at the house, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
if it's all going to be there. What else is coming up now as we make this transition into summer?
Well, of course, students will be, their last day, full day will be May the 18th, which is a Wednesday. The teachers will have their in-service, and then we're going to have our Teacher of the Year luncheon will be the 20th. This is an annual event. We have Teacher of the Year at each school. Those will be celebrated, and then we will announce Teacher of the Year for the district at that time.
Also, they wind up on the baseball card, right? With the ball team every year. Okay.
And also we'll have our education breakfast. The Chamber and Bank of Jackson will host that for us that morning. It's their annual, it's their monthly breakfast, but they do this for our PI partners with the schools. So that'll be a big event for our teachers and our PI partners. And then coming back, I mean, we're already looking at coming back for the next school year. The 27th, teachers will be back for in-service. So it will move quickly.
Something that the junior will not get into, but that will happen also, is that we'll have 2 new school board members coming in August. We'll have an election in August. And there are two open seats for the school board and contested races there. And so 2 of the 4. And so that will be a significant, totally outside the realm of what happens within the department itself, but it certainly affects the department. And so that's something to watch as well. And we'll have election return coverage that night here at EPlusTV 6, but those are big decisions that will be made by this community, so take note of that as well. When we come back, we will talk to Paula Maxson. She is the head academic decathlon coach at Madison Academic. We'll talk to a couple of members of that team. We'll also talk to Annette Wilson and Dr. Tiffany Green as we continue. This is Front Row, our look at public education in Jackson, Madison County, here on EPlusTV 6.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on line.
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
They might surprise you.
She took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Drawing from a tremendous underground aquifer, JA's water supply is sand filtered by nature. This water supply is not only plentiful, it requires minimal treatment. Continually lab tested for quality, it's the water distributed through the water division at JEA. More than once named by the Tennessee Association of Utility Districts as West Tennessee's best tasting water. Clean water, another part of JEA today.
This commercial isn't going to shock you or make you laugh, but it just might save your life. Every one of these people is alive today because someone else took the time to give blood. Hopefully, the person that gives blood for you is watching this too. Do you have time? Please give blood.
Welcome back to Front Row here at EPlusTV 6, our look at public education in the Jackson, Madison County school system. We're joined by Paula Maxson. She is the head academic decathlon coach, among other things, at Madison Academic High School. This is a very successful program. It started with JCM and an academic decathlon tradition that has continued in this community and with some top-performing schools. And Madison Academic has certainly been a perennial power, as they say. I guess that's a fair thing to say in all of this. How long have you been doing this?
This is my 4th year.
Okay, all right, to get into what attracted you to taking this on?
Well, it was offered to me. The former coach, Mr. Rowe, came to me. He was leaving the school and discussed with me the possibility of taking it over.
All right. Well, she was the head academic decathlon coach. This decathlon team just went to the Nationals, came in third, okay, and had to go in with a couple of last-minute changes, okay, with the team. So some people that were alternatives suddenly got picked.
That's correct. That occurred the night before our state championship.
Okay.
And it was quite unexpected. It came about 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I was on the phone literally for hours with our state director trying to figure out what we were going to do, and they gave me 24 hours to get alternates tested.
Wow. So you had some alternates, fortunately, who did well.
Well, they didn't know they were alternates.
Okay.
They found out they were alternates that evening when I called them and their parents, and I asked them, I said, I need a favor, and they said, sure, what is it?
Oh, yeah, just get ready for the academic decathlon.
It was, but they came through like champs. I was so proud of them.
Here they did well. An academic decathlon team is what? What do they do for people that we hear about this decathlon team, but we don't go to academic decathlons? There's not a stadium full of folks watching this.
Absolutely.
So what is this?
Well, it's not something that everyone quite understands, but it is a team comprised of 3 different types of students. It's not just geared to the academically successful students, it's geared to a diversity of academic abilities from A students to C students. It wants to incorporate all different learning styles. So on our team, we have 3 different GPA leveled students. We have what we call the A team, which is a 3.75 GPA to a 4.0.
All right, I've heard of those.
Then we have...
I don't think I ever quite got there, but anyway.
Not everyone achieves that.
I heard that was possible.
It is very possible. Then we have the second category, which we refer to as our B student, which is a 3.0 to the 3.74. And then our final category is the C category, which is basically a 0 GPA to a 2.99. However, as I explained to people, just because you are a member of the C team, generally those students have a much higher GPA. They usually have somewhere around a 3.3. But USAD does not allow us to count classes such as computer or theater.
So elective classes
It can only be your core academic classes.
All right. So you take these students in, and what do they compete how? How is this done?
They sign up right now. In fact, we're having a reception this afternoon to meet and greet prospective team members for next year. And then they sign up. They start with their materials in June, and they begin studying in June. And then all the way through fall semester, they're competing with each other in the classroom to earn the spot as one of the 9 team members.
Okay, so it's a 9-member team.
Correct.
3 out of each of the academic levels.
Yes.
Okay, and they study what?
Well, this year our theme was India. Each year, the United States Academic Decathlon releases a subject. And within that subject, it is divided into 7 subcategories, which are economics, math, science, history, music history, art history, and then there are competitive, 3 arenas that are competitive, which are performance-based, interview, speech, essay. So they study and prepare in those categories.
Okay. Does each student cover all of those areas?
Yes,
they
all
do.
of them.
Okay. All right, so then when I go to an academic decathlon, I've got these other schools there, what happens at that event?
Well, initially, they start out and they have testing, and they'll spend about 5 hours in testing, which is very difficult. And we refer to these students as decathletes because to be able to prepare for that type of competition, it is not just your mind, it is physical. It wears these students out. They are exhausted when they get done. So that part is closed. Coaches aren't allowed in, administrators aren't allowed in, only
Everybody take the
proctors.
same test?
They take the exact same test, the same time, usually all across the country.
Okay.
And then after that, then they go into the performance area where they have to give a speech, an interview. An essay is usually done at school online and submitted earlier.
Each student do all 3?
Everything.
Okay, so I have to be prepared for all of this.
Correct.
Okay. So it's kind of a totality of expression then, of knowledge and presented different ways, and through the testing and then through the other.
Right, and since you have 3 team members, they balance each other. You might have a student that's really good in math, but weak in history. And since you have those 3 people competing together, they select the 2 highest scores of the 3.
When you're picking a team then, does that factor into how you make the selection? It's like if I got a student strong in this, I need somebody that can offset here?
Exactly.
Okay, so it's up to you to make that selection process. So it's like coaching a team right there. I got to have maximum performance out of it.
I've got to figure out the dynamics of the team and who works well together, and you've got to look for team leaders and people who can motivate each other, and what the student can bring to the table. And sometimes it's not always just the highest score. A lot of times it can be the person with the most endurance and the best attitude or the best speech giver. So it's not always down to the highest score.
Okay. So you blend these. Why is it? Because this goes back, JCM was very successful with this, and then it transferred in with the creation of Madison. then this tradition moved there. There have been other schools that have these programs, have been competitive with this program, but Madison has consistently been a top performing school. Great coaching, I guess, right?
Well, I'm going to throw that all the way back to the first coach, Teresa Luna.
Okay.
She kind of started a system, and we've just kind of kept that system
right?
going.
Okay.
And you know, as USAID changes, and they do change each year, and we're trying to adjust our program to meet that. But basically, if you can keep the bones of the program together.
Okay, and that's what then?
That's our secret.
Okay.
But I can't tell you. I'm sorry. So
Have to buy the book.
Right.
1995, and we'll sell that online.
But I credit that to her. She
Because
started it.
Northside has had very, very good teams, very competitive teams. I know that Haywood County, and there have been some names down through here, but just consistently, JCM, and then when it transferred to Madison, has been the top team in West Tennessee and in the state.
And I believe when that transfer made, that was with Miss Luna. She moved from JCM to Madison, and so she brought with her that program and then passed that on to the next coach, and he passed that on to me. And I will say one part of it that we have that makes us successful that a lot of other programs don't have in this state is the support of the school system.
Okay.
It really starts there. If you don't have the support of the system and the encouragement from them and from your administration and from your community, you really don't have the endurance, because when the students know that they're living up to a high expectation from their leadership, then they will meet that expectation.
I'll give Ms. Carver equal time later, but that's kind of like playing football for the University of Alabama.
It is, and we use a Nick Saban quote, and our quote is that I always remind them: winners do what losers are not willing to do. And that's what sets them apart.
What happens for these students as a result of being in this experience?
Well, we've already received scholarships. My 10th grader on the team, was the highest scorer on the team, and he received a scholarship, so we had 3 scholarships from nationals. We also get scholarships from state, so they do get that. One aspect that I found particularly interesting is that we've had ACT scores significantly rise because of academic decathlon.
Wow.
Last year I had a student whose reading scores rose 6 points after completing 1 year of academic decathlon.
Whoa, okay, so that focus does make a difference out there.
It does.
So 9 students will be selected, and then there are obviously alternates out there that can be called on.
Right, and one part that's new that we're trying to get into is this has not been open to freshmen in the past. And I kind of want to open it up to freshmen, not to be on the team, but USAID has now opened up an individual competition so that students who are not at a school with a team can participate.
Right.
And I believe there were around 50 participants that were invited across the United States to come to Anchorage this year, and one was from Madison, from our school.
That's right. Paula Maxson, she's the head coach of the academic decathlon team at Madison Academic High School. Pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
Continued best. We'll meet a couple of these team members as we continue. This is Front Row at EPlusTV 6.
With the whole family online these days, speed matters. Good thing EPlus Broadband has the consistent speeds it takes to keep everyone happy. In the den with a tablet, streaming a movie in HD, on the home office computer, and using Wi-Fi on a smartphone instead of using up your data plan. It can all happen at once with no waiting. Speed matters. Call, click, or visit Jackson Energy Authority to get set up with EPlus Broadband Internet today.
Ready, set, go for it. It's your adventure. This is your GAC.
Check it out.
When it gets cold, feels like the end. There's no place to go, you know I won't give in. No, I won't give in. Keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through. We'll make
It's 13 miles of natural gas main reaching from Crockett County into Jackson, Tennessee. It's a $16 million project. When completed, this line will provide Jackson a second main line access to natural gas supply. It will enhance JA's existing service and provide expanded capacity for future industrial, commercial, and residential growth. Investing in Jackson's future at JEA today.
Welcome back to Front Row here at EPlusTV 6. Our thanks to Paula Maxson for being with us, the academic decathlon head coach at Madison Academic High School. We are pleased to present two members of this championship team. Colin Wilcox is with us. He is a sophomore, and Drake Oberholzer is a junior, and both on the team for the first time this past year.
Yes, sir.
So you didn't do this as a sophomore, decided to do it as a junior. So what attracted you to this?
Well, as a sophomore, I took our head coach's, Paula Maxson's, AP European history course.
Okay.
And throughout the course, I guess she kind of saw some type of potential in me, and she invited me to try out.
So she recruited you?
Basically.
Is that legal? So, you know, I don't want to disclose any rule violations here. So that's good. So she saw potential, and you thought it would work for you. What about you?
Well, my world history teacher actually brought me to Miss Maxson and recommended that I do academic decathlon next year. And at first I thought, no way, I'm not going to do it. But then when I really started...
Explain that to me then. It's like you didn't want to do it for...
I was lazy.
Okay.
I didn't want to do any work freshman year.
Okay, all right.
But then I realized, you know, this is definitely something that is worth doing. It's meaningful, it's fun to do, and I really love doing it now.
Okay. So Coach Maxson's got other faculty members then looking for people.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of people just try to keep an eye out for students that they think would be a good fit for the team, and then just pass their name along.
And you did extremely well at this, I understand, right?
Yes, sir.
You were the top scorer?
Top scorer on the team, yes, sir.
Team, okay, all right. Was he top scorer in the competition? No, just on the team, okay, all right. So we got a sophomore. So obviously you're oriented to this. Did the experience turn out to be what you thought it would be, or more difficult, or?
I didn't really know what to expect from the experience, to be honest. But it was really, I learned a lot because you meet people from all across the United States and other teams from the world, like China and the United Kingdom, and you just get to know them and just learn about different cultures around the world and just how they operate.
So what kind of opportunity for interaction is there then at these competitions?
Well, we actually had dinner with a team from Shanghai, and we just talked to them, we got to know them, and even though they're from a whole different country, you know, you think they're so much different than you, and while there are a few key differences, they're really just kids like you are.
Okay.
You know, you get to know them, and they're
this competition was held in Anchorage, Alaska. So what is that
sir.
like? I've never been to Alaska.
Well, everything's really big and really spaced out. And there are mountains everywhere in the background. Everywhere you look, there are mountains. And Anchorage is on a little inlet, so there's a lot of water everywhere, and it's just really beautiful. And also like 40 degrees. So.
I have relatives that have been to Alaska, but they were in the military, so it was forced. They didn't have they were assigned there, you know, stationed there, and so I had no choice about this. All right, when your year then is what? When you decide to get into this and you're picked for this team, and you try out, is that the process here?
For our first semester of school, there are people who want to do academic decathlon, and we compete against each other to get on the team, and whoever, as Ms. Maxson said, fits best into the team, whoever performs the best will make the team. Not everyone who competes for academic decathlon can get on the team. So even though that we have a spot on the team this year, that doesn't necessarily guarantee we'll have one next year.
Okay, so you start this process over. So it's like an athletic competition or anything else. What did you draw from this that you didn't expect?
Well,
and you mentioned that you were able to meet people from all over the world, which is kind of interesting, which is a social element to this.
Yeah, I didn't, before I got on academic decathlon, one of the things that I was considering that might have led me to not try out was I was not comfortable in speaking in front of anyone or doing any types of speeches or anything. But working through with Ms. Maxson and the coaches and all the other students just helped me get more comfortable with talking to other people, strangers, and giving presentations or speeches in front of people. So I think that really helped me.
So that's a very practical result of this thing then.
That was also something that deterred me, but mainly for me it was interview. I had very little experience with interview. I was very nervous. I wouldn't make eye contact. I'd hide and things like that.
Okay.
And now I got the top score on our team in interview. I got a bronze medal at the national level. So that's something that really means a lot to me, getting that interview skill and having the confidence to just talk to someone.
So if it hadn't been for this experience then, you'd still be where you were?
Yeah,
okay.
pretty much.
So,
Exactly.
all right, so that forced, because my inclination, my expectation was, well, it was an academic thing, but then this becomes a very practical, social.
You gain a lot of
challenge.
skills that you might not necessarily think about when you first get into it, but as you progress, you just learn more and just become more developed.
What is the key then also when you're, like this topic this year was India, and it covers all of these different things, because there are going to be certain areas that you'll have personal interest in. And there are other things I would think you'd almost have to be forced. It's like, I'd rather be in the beach river bottom with a toothache than have to study this or whatever. And so how do you do that, or what's the process? Are you expected to have top performances in all those levels, or you say, well, Colin, he'll do well in that, he'll pick that one up. I'll slide here on this one.
Well, I mean, you don't want to not try on any of them, so of course you try your best with everything, but you know there will be some subjects that you're not the best in and other people are better.
Okay.
So sometimes it's more beneficial to study one subject that you know you're good in and you know you'll do well in, so you get a higher score, but also don't neglect the other subjects. You have to keep up the score.
And I didn't ask Coach Maxon this, but then when you're competing as 9 members, is it the top score that's counted, or do they do the total of all of the members of the team?
It is the top score on each of the divisions. So for the 3 A's, the top 2 scores from the A's will count. From the 3 B's, the top 2 scores of the B's, and from the 3 C's, the top 2 scores of those C's.
Okay.
And then you just add them all together, and you get the total score.
But it's the top score in all those categories.
The top two scores.
The top 2 in all those categories. Okay, so there's individual and yet collective responsibility. So you have some team responsibility to try to hold up your end.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
a lot.
How much time does this take in your life?
It takes up a lot because, of course, you're expected to maintain all your other grades and everything else. So it's a class in school, and then we stay after school to study, and then you go home and you study for your other classes, and then you might study a little bit more. And it's every single day that happens. So last year they counted up all the hours, and I think it was, do you remember how many weeks it was?
I think it was a 40-hour work week.
It was a 40-hour work week. I think it was 7 40-hour work weeks that they put into studying the material last year. So we're yet to figure it out. 8?
Yes.
Okay, 8.
How do you know if you're progressing? Are you testing? Is that part of this process?
Yes. The regional and state competition are almost like benchmarks for our testing. You know, we look at what areas that we may be falling behind in or subjects that we're strong in, and that determines, should I study this subject more, or should I try to pull up in this subject, or just focus on everything all around?
Okay. So the first time you actually compete then outside the school is when? Then when you go to the regionals?
Well, regionals was actually held online this year, as was state. So there was no speech and interview competition. So we actually traveled to Georgia for the state competition to compete in the speech and interview competitions.
Okay. All right. And then take it from there.
Yeah.
You both plan on doing this again next year? You're going to try out?
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So it's do you recommend this to other people? Are there fellow students where you say, hey, understanding your reaction is like, I don't think I really want to get into this. I understand why. It was 40-hour week extra. It's like, okay, yeah, I could do other things with my life.
Yeah.
Like live.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But we try to find students and just encourage them, even if they don't want to be on the academic decathlon team, we just might try to help them because the goal for everyone is just to learn more, and help other students. So.
Right. Well, you're the best of the best. I mean, it's an amazing thing, and I noticed I couldn't get the secret out of the coach as to why, but anyway, it's good to meet you both. Continue best. I look forward to having you back here next year. This is a perennial power in the academic decathlon business, and Colin Wilcox and Drake Oberholzer, top-performing students, and we look for them to be back with us next year. We're going to continue. We'll shift gears a bit and talk to Dr. Tiffany Green. We got pre-K work to do, among other things, as we continue front row here at EPlusTV 6.
machine.
Would it be okay if I sat here?
I am beautiful, no matter
Is she
what they
serious?
say.
Whatever. New girl.
I am beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring me down. So don't you bring
Reaching out. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
The living room. It's a great place to watch TV. Just like your backyard, break time at the office, or waiting for your ride. Now you can watch TV everywhere. Stream your favorite shows or live TV from many channels in your cable package on any computer, tablet, or smartphone. It's all included with your EPlus broadband cable TV for no extra cost. Sign up to watch TV everywhere today. Visit EPlusBroadband.com to learn more.
The original pipes in Jackson's gas system were wood. Then the new industry standard became cast iron. In 2016, the Jackson Energy Authority celebrated the last mile, the complete and final replacement of the remaining cast iron pipes. Cast iron gave way to safer, more reliable materials that vary by pressure load and system need. There are some natural gas systems still using cast iron, but that's not the case at JEA today. Welcome back to Front Row here at EPlusTV 6. If you are just joining us, hope you'll catch us on replay. We have been talking academic decathlon with the best team in the state of Tennessee, and it has been for years and years and years with Coach Paula Maxson and two members, Colin Wilcox and Drake Oberholzer, who said they were shy and didn't do interviews, and they handled themselves very well.
They did.
That shows what can happen in a year's time in the lives of some young people. It's good to see. Dr. Tiffany Green is with us. She is the Chief of Human Capital. It's the human resource position in the Jackson-Madison County School System. She is also the pre-K director. 2 jobs for the price of 1.
Yes.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're here to talk about pre-K because pre-K registration comes to an end in May. And there is just a lot of emphasis on pre-K programs and the importance of and everything else. So if you've got a child for whom you're responsible that's going to be 4 years old on or before August the 15th, and meet state-mandated requirements and all this other stuff, it's a great opportunity, I would think.
It is. It's an awesome opportunity.
Okay, and so, but that registration process does come to an end on May 20th. So how do I do this, or what do I do to register a child?
Well, in order to get a child registered, you would come, a parent or anyone who has custody, excuse me, custody of a student would go to the Whitehall Pre-K Center, and that is on 532 Whitehall Street. And they are taking applications between the hours of 9 and 2. And that gives them time to get their students in and get all the parents and buses off the parking lot. And then we'll take applications then, and then we'll end at 2 so that parents and buses can come back and pick children up in the afternoon. But a parent or a guardian would need to bring a birth certificate, shot record and physical, a social security card, proof of income, and then 3 proofs of residency for Jackson, Madison County, or for Jackson or for Madison County.
Okay, I want to get those in detail. Is all pre-K income attached?
No, all of them are not. We have 6 classes that are locally funded, and those classes, while we are always trying to meet and get those students who may have who may be what the state considers as economically disadvantaged, we are also accepting students who may not meet those income guidelines but still could benefit from being in a pre-K program.
And not all pre-K classes are held at Whitehall, but that's where you do all the registration.
We do all the registration there so that we can have one centralized location so everybody can hear the same thing. Everybody can, all the documents are there, and then we disperse them after the registration process.
How then are students assigned to different campuses, or who decides who goes where?
Well, we have what we call a lottery process. If we have more students who apply for a school, then we have spots. Say, for instance, Alexander only has one class.
Okay.
So
When I apply, then do I apply to say I want to go to Alexander?
you apply, and we give you 3 choices because of that reason, because of there's some schools that only have one class.
Okay.
And so if they want to go to Alexander, and if we have 30 people that apply for Alexander, we only have 20 spots. So I put the names in a system, it pops out a number, and whichever ones, I mean, it literally is a lottery so that everyone has a fair.
As we have with other enrollments at other schools.
So everyone has a fair chance.
Okay, so I go through that and then just get assigned accordingly. Okay, and going back through this as far as, once again, this process ends May 20th, and this is for pre-K. We'll talk about kindergarten registration a little bit later, which is a different thing, but this is for pre-K, student that's 4 years old on or before August the 15th, and so I need the birth certificate, right? I need immunization records and all that other stuff. Okay, Social Security number, card, whatever.
Card,
Okay, verification of income in case there are income eligibility issues and concerns, and 3 proofs of residency in Madison County, which would be?
It could be your car registration, your driver's license, but it has to have the
address.
It has to have the address on it. A bill, electric bill, water bill, voter's registration card, any of those things that will prove that you actually live at that
place.
residence.
Okay, all right. So verification of all of that. And I guess, and Ms. Wilson can tell us what all kinds of shots we're going to need here. Right?
She will, and she and I work really closely together with the schools to make sure that the records are up to date, because those are state requirements. They have to, they have to have those.
A good bit of your work, administrative and everything else, has been involved with pre-K.
It has been.
Okay.
It has been.
What do you tell people that have questions about it? I mean, I would think it's an extremely valuable thing for these students.
It is very valuable. Students who come and who are a part of a quality pre-K program, which our program is, we have a certified teacher, and then we have a highly qualified assistant who have all been through training specifically for early childhood education. Students who participate in those programs have been shown in research to enter school more ready than their peers who have not been involved in those programs. So it's valuable. We cover social, emotional, physical, educational, and it's a family program. We have parent meetings, and we have a transition to kindergarten. We also have parent nights to where parents can come and we show them how to read to their children, how important reading is. Family nights where the kids can come and just get a better understanding about how important early childhood is in the K-12 educational process, and then on into college.
Okay. Dr. Green, I think I'll back this up. I think some of the most skilled people that we have in this system are those that are involved with this pre-K.
Oh, they are awesome. They are.
It takes a special calling, because these folks are a little bitty, and sometimes they have challenging circumstances, and it's tough enough to let them go to school when they're 6 or 5, much less when they're 4.
When they're 4, yes.
And it takes some really dedicated, skilled people to do this work, but it's an important first step, and it can be a change. Just like we saw these young men with this academic decathlon, sometime a year can make a huge difference in life, and it's the same thing with these little bitty ones out there. So if you got a child that can benefit from this, May 20th is the deadline. You do it at the Whitehall Pre-K Center, which is at 532 Whitehall Street, 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. But don't miss this. Don't miss this opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Appreciate your continued work with this system. And like I said, Dr. Green's got a full-time job as Chief of Human Capital, plus also continues to serve as Pre-K Director. So it's much appreciated. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Thank you for having
me.
me.
We come back. Annette Wilson is with us. And I don't know what we'll talk about, but it should be interesting, because she always tries to change my weight about 20 pounds right here on the air. Right here on the air. We'll talk about it next. Annette Wilson's coming up as we continue Front Row here at EPlusTV 6.
It starts with one.
It starts with one.
It starts with one.
There is a way to stop bullying.
It starts with one.
Be that one.
The mapping system our local 911 services use to locate the site of an emergency requires a high-speed connection. EPlus Broadband's network speed and local service with unparalleled response times helps organizations like this to perform at their best, especially when every second counts. This is why internet services for 911 dispatchers are delivered by Jackson Energy Authority. To connect your organization, call 422-7500 today.
Welcome back to Front Row here at EPlusTV 6. I continue to look at public education of the Jackson-Madison County school system. If you're just joining us, we've talked to Dr. Tiffany Green about pre-K and the enrollment process that's underway right now through the 20th and how important all of that is. And we'll talk about kindergarten registration with Ginger Carver coming up as well. And then also we visit with two members of the academic decathlon team from Madison Academic High School and their coach, Paula Maxon. Real interesting insights into what is an academic decathlon team, how these students are selected, and I think you'll see firsthand the effects and the results of being a part of this team has on these students, and it's quite impressive. Annette Wilson is with us. She's the administrator of the coordinated school health program, and so she's always talking to me about what I eat, how much weight I've gained, and all this other stuff. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you.
You know, it's kind of like a dripping water faucet, but because she's always trying to correct things in my life. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Great.
We're going to do Jumpstart Jackson this year, October the 15th.
October
It moved
15th.
to fall.
It moved to fall, and we're going to have a change in location. We're going back to the fairgrounds.
To the fairgrounds
That's where
rather
we
than Civic
started.
Center. Okay.
So we're excited. We hope to have some new things this year
Okay.
to make it a little bit more enjoyable for everybody.
Okay.
So we're in the process of making those plans
How about
right
a shorter walk?
Well, for you, maybe so. We'll see.
I can loop the track there at the fairgrounds and call it a day. But that'll be October the 15th. There'll be a lot of information coming out about that. One thing that is underway, we're seeing fundraising efforts for AED units and you want to place them at all the schools. How important is this?
It's so important. I mean, an AED can definitely save a life. Seconds matter when someone's in cardiac arrest.
When we went through CPR training, it said 4 minutes. 4 minutes from the time you have a heart attack are the most crucial.
Right.
And if you can get a response, either CPR or AED or whatever, before you get, because the ambulance is not going to be there in 4 minutes.
Oh, no, most definitely they can't be. On the national average, it's 8 to 12 minutes for EMS to arrive once you've activated them. And of course, we know in our schools that are way out in the county, it's going to be much longer. But the sooner you start CPR and have an AED on site can double your chance of survival. So it's so important that we have those.
Okay, so there are fundraising efforts out there. When you see those, and with different organizations and everything else, and the Kiwanis Club and all have been actively involved in this, but if you see those efforts out there, support those, because how many campuses will we have now when we
Currently we have 20 schools with AEDs, and we partnered with the Kiwanis Club of Jackson. We started that in 2010. They approached us and they started them in the high schools, then we went to the middles, and actually we have 20 schools total. The goal is to have one in every single school and then go back and double up on the high schools because of the larger campuses.
Yeah, campuses. Well, like Northside, South, those are spread campuses.
Oh, most definitely.
Absolutely. And so those things have grown. All right, I want to talk to you about nutrition work and everything else and how it relates to, because you're passionate about this and have made dramatic changes in school lunch programs, snack programs, and everything else, sometimes despite opposition from those of us that don't want to make those changes.
Right.
But what are you seeing as a result of, because before we talk about the school clinic and all, what are you seeing as a result of this? Because I know what we saw the first time we talked a few years ago was just a stunning growth in type 2 diabetes cases, conditions among children that are young.
And that continues to grow. I mean, I'm seeing changes in attitudes of our students. even though the diabetes epidemic is still growing.
Still growing.
Yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah, we've added actually 4 new diabetics in our district since spring break
Okay.
that are type 2s. But what I have seen, we surveyed some students recently, high school students, and it's amazing what they say is that they are increasing their consumption of fruits and vegetables. They're choosing water more so than sodas,
Soda, okay.
which, I mean, and it takes time for them to make a change. And they're asking for more fun, energetic activities to happen during the school day, more interactive PE times, more PE. As in high school, that's very difficult to get. You basically have
block
PE.
scheduling, other than
Yeah,
right.
you have PE your 9th grade year because you have PE and wellness. So that's why it's so important to make those changes.
So after that, you do not?
You do not.
Wow.
So, but of course,
Is that because of our academic emphasis? I mean, is that just, because
It is. I mean,
when I was in
there's-
school, of course, that's 6 decades ago. But, recess, there were like 3, some of them were a long time because we could play a whole ball game.
Right.
During pickup game during recess.
There's so much more that has to be covered in the academic areas. So, without extending the school day, it's just really hard to get it in.
Activity gets pushed to the side.
We're having to get creative with incorporating physical activity into the classroom. And we have several different resources that we use. Most of those are online, such as Go Noodle or Fit Wizard, and those are academic brain breaks, so that the kids are still learning, but they're up moving, and it's amazing how many teachers are using it. It's a great way to prepare for tests as well, because it reinforces what the teachers have been teaching all year.
Connectivity between our physical health and mental or capability, academic performance is real.
Well, I mean, you look at, and it's not just the academic piece of it, it's the behavioral side too. You can ask many of the principals that will tell you when the students have time to be physically active, they have less referrals to the office for behavioral issues. Of course, we had the 2 gold schools this year with South Elementary and Beach Bluff Elementary, and both of those principals will say it's amazing when those children are able to get up and move a little bit, and also they're not eating the sugary foods during the school day, and that does have an effect on them.
Things. Okay, all right. Before we get away, because it's part of the emphasis, we go through this every year because Annette becomes one of those people that is responsible to make sure we have all of our immunizations and all sorts of stuff. How do I get a list of, how do I know what I'm supposed to have? When I've got one enrolling in school, coming into the system for the first time,
Whether you go to your primary care physician, your pediatrician, the health department, or our school health clinic, which is inside Jackson Careers and Technology, they know exactly what your child needs. Even if you change physicians, most of the doctors will enter your immunizations that maybe you had for your child as a baby into the state system, so they can pull that up. But there are so many immunizations that are needed that start as an infant and then go all the way. Then there's the other shots that they have to have right before they enter school, and then again there's boosters when they enter the 7th grade.
Now that was a recent or addition of the last few years, right? Which
That is a new shot or 2 new injections that really, I think now it's been about 3 to 4 years. But that was just to fully immunize our students. And as you can see with the outbreak of the measles in the Shelby County area, getting your child's immunizations is a safety net for them as well as for the other children in the building.
All right. And so check with your pediatrician or with the public health department or at the school clinic, which is at
668 Lexington Avenue inside Jackson Careers and Technology.
In the summer, is it open or accessible?
The school clinic is open 2 weeks after the last day of school, and then they come back 2 weeks before school starts.
So before school starts, you can still get that done through the school clinic.
They can call 423-8542 and make an appointment. We can do all school physicals, sports physicals, and immunizations at that site.
Okay, all right. So I forgot about all that sports stuff.
Yes.
That's right. Okay, all right. And that's always good to see.
Good to see you.
Appreciate the work. And don't forget, October the 15th, this year will be at the fairgrounds. We'll jumpstart Jackson. So get yourself ready.
That's right. You got time.
And some new fun things.
Steve's going to be leading the way.
when somebody says Annette's having fun, we get skeptical. But anyway, but she does amazingly good work, very, very important work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Annette Wilson with us. Ginger Carver with us. We'll wrap this up. We'll come back. We'll talk about, well, JCM takes its final steps and that and some other things as we move through this front row here at EPlusTV 6.
Jackson Police, what do they do? And why do they do what they do? EPlusTV 6 Roll Call, an update on the people and the work of the Jackson Police Department. A new show every 2 weeks. What they do and what we can do to make a difference in Jackson. Roll Call now includes you, exclusively on EPlusTV 6. Drawing from a tremendous underground aquifer, JA's water supply is sand filtered by nature. This water supply is not only plentiful, it requires minimal treatment. Continually lab tested for quality, it's the water distributed through the Water Division at JEA. More than once named by the Tennessee Association of Utility Districts as West Tennessee's best tasting water. Clean water, another part of JEA today.
Okay, Josh, do your stuff.
Okay, people, you know the drill. Canned foods only, guys.
Sometimes you gotta live what you believe, open your arms, cause that's where it starts. Right here with you and with me. One the world needs now is love.
Generosity, pass it on.
A little help from up above. Faith to me.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Hi, I'm Franny Smith, host of EPlusTV 6 cooking show At Home on the Range. Our show features some of Jackson's best cooks, regular folks just like you and me that enjoy home entertaining and sharing their culinary skills. Join us each week as our guests share favorite family recipes, tips for entertaining, and delicious fare from the natural gas kitchens at Kaufman's Home Furnishings and Appliances. Have fun with local folks who are going to help you feel more at home on the range.
Welcome back to Front Row here at EPlusTV 6. Those just joined us, be sure to catch this on replay. Several things we talked about: academic decathlon with the Madison academic decathlon coach Paula Maxon on how those teams were put together, what they do, and then also two students, Colin Wilcox and Drake Oberholzer, who I think were really reflective of what happens because they said interviews and all stuff were not a strength, and they came on the show very comfortable, amazing. So in 1 year, their life has changed as a result of being a part of this academic decathlon team. But we did not get the secret.
No, they won't tell us either. I don't know.
So it started with Teresa Lynn at JCM, and she brought the program to Madison Academic, and because JCM was the perennial state champion. I mean, they won the state championship every year for.
Yeah,
if you're in Tennessee and you're going to academic decathlon in Tennessee, you go to find out who's going to be second. Because Madison has been first.
Yes, they've been state champions for 13 years. In a row.
And so it's just an amazing thing. But she said there was the Luna model was continuing to be implemented.
It works,
she wouldn't say whatever it is. That's our secret. We're not changing. We're not telling anyone else. And so they've been extremely successful. We've had other good academic decathlon programs in this county as well and in West Tennessee, but they are the best of the best. And it shows, and it's a real pleasure to talk to them. We also talked to Dr. Tiffany Green about pre-K registration, and once again, to emphasize that, pre-K registration comes to an end May 20th, and it will not open back up.
It will not, because they have a lottery process, so once it's finished, it's finished.
So if you got a youngster that's going to be 4 years of age, on or before August 15th this year, then if you're interested in pre-K, then get that enrollment taken care of at 532 Whitehall Street. That's the only place you may apply. The child may not be at Whitehall Pre-K, but that's where you apply. And so 532 Whitehall Street, 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. up through May the 20th.
May the 20th.
Okay. Now, kindergarten registration is also underway. It cuts off May 20th, but it will resume July 27th.
It will. And that will take place at your zone school.
Okay, so you apply at your, if you got a kindergarten
If you have a kindergarten student, go to your zone school.
Are we wrapped up then with all the placement of everybody else as far as open enrollment and all that stuff at the high schools?
That is winding down. I mean, we still have a little bit of that going on.
Okay.
But I think, once school has ended, everybody will have been placed unless we have new folks coming into the area, after school gets out.
Okay, all right. And certainly want to say congratulations to our graduates going through graduation Madison on May the 12th, the 13th Northside, and then the 14th Liberty, JCM, and Southside, all at the Oman Arena. Final graduating class for Jackson Central Mary, and we talked about it earlier that their high school band invited alumni to march in the Strawberry Festival Parade one more time. Had people coming in from all over the place, many from way out of town, coming back for that. It was a real special thing. Jackson Central Mary is an interesting thing because, and this is my comments, not Ginger's, not the school systems. That was our integration school, high school. It was the pivotal point for this community, and to see, because in the final days of JCM, when the decision was made that school was going to be closed, one of the comments that was made it was made at the city council hall, not the city council, but the school board, when they made the decision. A gentleman walked out and said, "You go back and tell people that they closed your school." And when he was talking about yours, he wasn't talking about the whole community. He was talking about the African American community. They have closed your school. And I wonder, as we look at that, what happened to us in those decades, from the early 1970s to where we are now, that the school that was putting together both segments of this community and the high hopes and the history of that school, what happened to that? And what happened to us in those decades? Because something has been missed somewhere. And I don't know what it is. But how that school, went from where it began to where it ended up with identity and reaction in this community and everything. It's not so much what it says about public education, it's what it says about all of us, that we missed a window here, somewhere or another, in all this process and all this discussion and challenges and feelings and everything else down through the years. And you see it reflected in what happened to that school. And there are many, many diverse things that happened. But by the time its history ended, it had become once again identified as an African American school, which was exactly the opposite of where it began. And it's an amazing thing that happened to us. And it ought to cause us all to reflect on what has been going on in this community in those decades. But it's still a great history.
It is.
And what happens to the trophies and the memorabilia and all that other stuff from JCM? Because a lot of stuff was lost when they closed Jackson High School and Mary High School. A lot of stuff, you go through the thing, well, that's the past, and we get rid of all that stuff. And I hope that doesn't happen here.
They're working on a plan to put that in one location. I don't think they've determined the location for that yet. But that is very important and how on the priority
And I would think
list.
it would be for all these schools, though, right?
Correct.
They've all had history that you want preserved. And I was reminded of that. I toured with Robert Rooks, and I may have mentioned this before, in Brownsville at the old College Hill High School. They have the Lincoln Rooms, everything, but they have a sports museum there that has everything from old film to, I think they've got every trophy that was ever won by Haywood High School going back to 19 whatever. And it's interesting that they preserved all of that. And because some of those trophies that travel from conference to conference will have Jackson High School or whatever on it. And I thought we'd let a lot of this stuff get away. So there's going to be an effort to do this. Okay.
Yes, that's in the works right now.
All right, so we wrap up then May the
18th for students.
Okay.
And then for teachers will be the 20th.
Okay. Some things to watch, the transition this summer, because we got to move.
We've got a busy summer ahead of us.
Busy summer ahead to move and relocate, consolidation from 5 campuses down to the others. And then also the budget process that is underway. You can follow that with the school board and with the Madison County Commission. The fiscal year ends June 30th. Start a brand new fiscal year July 1st. And there's still several things up in the air right now, capital budgets and everything else. So watch those meetings and follow that. However you feel about it, you'll have firsthand information right here. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I take it you're not going much of a break this summer, but
oh no.
Okay, well,
that's okay.
It's all right.
Okay.
Well, that's what we're here to do, and appreciate you being a part of this. Thanks to you for being with us, and stay with us here at EPlusTV6 Front Row. Our continued look at public education in the Jackson Madison County school system. We'll see you next time for more Front Row here at EPlusTV6.